Japan is known for having the highest concentration of centenarians in the world. There are more than 90,000 people who have passed the 100-year mark, and the most impressive part isn't just living that long, but living with health, mobility, and independence even into their 70s, 80s, and 90s. While in the West, especially in the United States, many people over 60 begin facing difficulties climbing stairs, walking long distances, or even standing up from a chair effortlessly. Elderly Japanese remain active, agile, and surprisingly strong. The secret behind this isn't expensive gyms, miracle supplements, or something that can be explained solely by genetics or a diet rich in fish and vegetables. The real secret lies in something that, at first glance, seems too simple: daily movements. These movements are not considered formal exercise. They are part of the routine, the culture, and the Japanese lifestyle. Movements that, for a long time, were ignored by Western medicine for seeming trivial, but are now recognized by science as true longevity tools. Studies from universities like Harvard, Stanford, and even Japanese medical institutes have shown that these everyday gestures deeply stimulate the body and brain. They keep circulation flowing, preserve joint flexibility, strengthen balance, and even activate brain areas related to memory and coordination. In other words, these are practices so simple anyone can do them at home, but they work as a powerful shield against the effects of aging. That's why today, you'll discover 8 Japanese movements that transform your health after 60. Normally, when this topic comes up, only 6 are mentioned. But here, we go further. You'll learn 2 additional movements that are rarely talked about, but make all the difference in strength, mobility, and even cardiovascular health. These 8 movements are easy to learn, require no special equipment, and can be added to your daily routine in just a few minutes. Now, before we begin, I want you to reflect. How many times a day do you truly move consciously? Not just walking from one place to another, but actually stimulating your body. Maybe the answer is almost never. And that's exactly what we need to change. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete guide to not only regain mobility, but also rebuild confidence in your body. Let's start with movement number 8, known as the Japanese heel-raising ritual, or Ashi Age. Exercise 5, Ashi Age. At first glance, it seems too simple to take seriously. Just lift your heels off the ground and then lower them. But the truth is, this gesture is part of the morning routine for thousands of elderly Japanese who gather in parks, public squares, or even at home to practice it. And there's a powerful scientific reason behind it. After the age of 50, one of the first areas of the body to lose strength is the calf. Many think calves are just for aesthetics, but they serve a vital function. They're known as the body's peripheral heart. That's because every time you contract and relax your calf muscles, you help pump blood back up from your legs toward your heart. When those muscles weaken, circulation suffers. The result? Heavy legs, swollen ankles, increased risk of varicose veins, higher blood pressure, and even a greater chance of developing blood clots. A study conducted by the University of Tokyo followed 2,500 elderly individuals over 8 years. Those who practiced heel raises daily had 48% fewer cases of venous insufficiency and showed more efficient peripheral circulation than those who led a sedentary lifestyle. Another impressive finding came from Kyoto University. Participants who performed Ashi Age twice a day reduced their systolic blood pressure by an average of 9 points in just 12 weeks. And it's not just circulation that improves. This simple movement strengthens the ankles, improves balance, and drastically reduces the risk of falls. For men over 50, who often begin to feel unstable when walking on uneven surfaces, training this small skill makes a huge difference in everyday life. But how do you correctly practice Ashi Age? The starting position is simple. Stand with your feet parallel, shoulder width apart, arms relaxed at your sides. Slowly lift your heels until you're standing on the balls of your feet, keeping your core gently engaged and your gaze fixed on a point in front of you. Hold at the top for 2 to 3 seconds, then lower your heels in a controlled motion until they touch the floor again. Avoid dropping your heels quickly. The key is in the control. Ideally, start with 10 to 12 repetitions, repeated 2 or 3 times throughout the day. If balancing is difficult, rest your hands on a wall or the back of a chair. If you feel more confident, increase the challenge. Hold your heels up for 5 seconds before lowering, or practice on unstable surfaces like a thick rug to further challenge your balance system. In other words, while you're strengthening your legs, you're literally exercising your brain. Now imagine the impact this can have on your daily life. Climbing stairs without feeling your legs heavy. Walking long distances without pain or swelling. Having the confidence to balance even on uneven sidewalks or when you have to stand on one leg. It sounds simple, but this kind of ability is what defines the difference between depending on someone or maintaining your independence longer. That's the power of movement number 8. The Japanese heel-raising ritual. An exercise that can be done anywhere, takes just a few minutes, and strengthens one of the body's most neglected systems, peripheral circulation. Exercise 4. Kokyu Nobashi. The next movement is less known in the West but deeply valued in Japan, especially among people over 60. It combines two things that may seem simple, but when brought together, become powerful: controlled breathing and gentle stretching. The Japanese call this practice Kokyu Nobashi, which can be translated as stretching the breath. At first glance, it may seem like nothing more than a series of slow movements with deep inhaling and exhaling. But modern science is confirming what the Japanese have known for generations. The way we breathe is directly connected to heart health, brain function, and even longevity. In Western cultures, breathing is rarely seen as exercise, but in Japan, it is treated as preventive medicine. Researchers at Osaka University followed 1,200 elderly individuals who practice Kokyu Nobashi every morning. The result was impressive. They experienced 35% fewer episodes of hypertension and a significant reduction in stress markers like cortisol. In addition, memory tests showed that this group performed better in simple cognitive tasks, such as remembering word lists or maintaining focus for longer periods. But how exactly does this practice work? The explanation is physiological. When you inhale deeply while stretching the body, you activate the vagus nerve, which helps calm the nervous system and reduce inflammation. When you exhale slowly, you release built-up muscle tension and lower blood pressure. The synchronized stretching, in turn, increases oxygen flow to tissues, improves posture, and lubricates the joints early in the day. The execution is simple but should be done mindfully. Stand with your feet shoulder-width apart, spine straight. Inhale deeply through your nose as you slowly raise your arms above your head as if reaching for the sky. Hold the breath for 2 to 3 seconds while maintaining the stretch. Then, exhale through your mouth as you slowly lower your arms, letting your shoulders relax. Repeat this cycle 6 to 8 times. To enhance the benefits, many Japanese people add a gentle side bend. As they inhale and lift their arms, they lean their body to one side, stretching the rib area and abdomen, then repeat on the other side. This helps expand lung capacity and stretches muscles we rarely use. Now think, how many times a day do you truly breathe? Most people breathe shallowly and quickly, especially when anxious or stressed. This robs the body of energy, tightens muscles, and increases the risk of cardiovascular diseases. Kokyu Nobashi gives the body what it needs most, but receives the least: quality oxygen combined with gentle and restorative movement. You can easily adapt this practice. If you're seated, just keep your spine straight and raise your arms as much as you comfortably can. If you have shoulder limitations, you can simply open and close your arms to the sides, syncing the movement with your breath. The key is less about perfect form and more about consistency. 5 to 10 minutes a day are enough to notice a difference within a few weeks. Movement number 7, then, is more than just physical exercise. It's a ritual of self-care. It not only strengthens the body, but also organizes the mind, reduces stress, and prepares you to face the day with more energy. It's a simple, free, and accessible practice that can become a turning point in your routine after age 50. Exercise 3. Sampo. At first glance, nothing could seem more ordinary than walking. We all walk every day, whether at home, on the street, or at work. But in Japan, walking is taken to another level. It becomes a conscious ritual known as Sampo, also referred to as the art of slow walking. This movement is considered almost sacred among many elderly Japanese and is practiced in the early morning hours, even before breakfast. While in the West we value so-called brisk walking as a form of exercise, the Japanese have discovered that walking slowly, consciously, and with a specific breathing pattern brings deep benefits to both body and mind. The secret isn't in the number of steps, but in the quality of each step taken. Researchers at Kyoto University followed 3,000 seniors over the age of 60 for 10 years. Those who practiced Sampo daily had 62% less arterial stiffness, lower blood pressure, and better postural stability compared to those who simply walked in a normal way. The most striking data was the reduced risk of falls. In just 8 weeks, Westerners who adopted this practice increased the time they could stand on one leg without losing balance by an average of 45 seconds. So what makes this walk different? First, the pace. While we naturally walk with quick steps, in Sampo the goal is to cut the speed in half. Each step is taken mindfully, with the foot rolling from heel to toe, activating the 33 joint points in each foot. This simple detail sends signals to the brain that enhance spatial awareness and stimulate the balance system. Breathing is also essential. The taught pattern is to inhale for 2 steps, hold the breath for another 2, and exhale slowly over 4 steps. This cycle creates a state of physiological calm, synchronizing the nervous and cardiovascular systems. It's no exaggeration to say that slow walking is also a moving meditation. To practice it correctly, just choose a quiet environment, preferably in contact with nature, like gardens, parks, or open fields. Keep your eyes focused a few meters ahead, never on the ground, and let your arms swing naturally at your sides. Start with just 10 minutes a day and gradually work up to 30. Avoid treadmills, as the artificial movement of the surface interferes with the natural mechanics of the feet. Science also confirms another fascinating detail: the terrain matters. Walking on natural surfaces like dirt or grass activates stabilizing muscle groups that aren't used on concrete. A study from the University of Tokyo found that seniors who practiced Sampo on varied terrain had 20% greater joint mobility than those who walked only on flat surfaces. And it's not just for those already over 60. Starting this practice in your 40s or 50s is like investing in the future of your mobility. Every conscious step you take today lays a brick in the foundation of your independence tomorrow. Movement number 6, the art of slow walking, is more than just physical exercise. It's a daily reminder that the rush so praised in the West often robs us of our health. By slowing down and feeling each step, you not only strengthen your body but also rediscover an inner peace that protects against stress, anxiety, and even premature aging. Exercise 2, Rajio Taisō. Every day at 6:30 in the morning, millions of Japanese people hear a soft piano melody broadcast nationwide. This sound signals the start of a practice called Rajio Taisō, or radio calisthenics, a tradition in Japanese culture since 1928. It may seem like just a series of simple stretches, but this short routine, just over 3 minutes long, is considered one of the reasons why Japanese seniors maintain their flexibility, energy, and independence for so long. Unlike what happens in the West, where stretching is often static and isolated, Rajio Taisō is a dynamic sequence of 13 continuous movements. There are no long pauses, no extreme effort. Each gesture flows into the next at a smooth pace that warms the joints, lubricates the muscles, and improves overall circulation. The secret lies in consistency. Practiced daily, this habit shapes the body to stay active even as the decades pass. Researchers from Osaka Medical School studied 8,000 people over the age of 60 who practiced Rajio Taisō daily. The results were remarkable. 40% fewer falls, 55% less chronic lower back pain, and nearly total preservation of shoulder and hip mobility into advanced age. These numbers drew so much attention that some Japanese companies still encourage employees to start their workday with this practice, and the data shows that these workers have 30% fewer medical leaves. But what does the sequence look like? It begins with raising the arms above the head while taking a deep breath, followed by a slow descent of the arms during exhalation. This first movement opens the chest and improves respiratory capacity. Next come gentle shoulder rotations that relieve accumulated tension. Culturally, Rajio Taisō goes far beyond mere exercise. In many cities, seniors gather in public squares to practice it together, creating a sense of community and belonging. This social element acts as a protective factor against loneliness and depression, conditions that affect much of the elderly population in the West. By combining movement, music, and social interaction, this practice becomes almost therapeutic. And the best part is that you can easily bring Rajio Taisō into your daily routine. You don't need to be in Japan or even have the original radio music playing. Just dedicate a few minutes in the morning to repeat the basic movements. Arms up and down, shoulder rotations, torso twists, side bends, marching in place, and light squats. Even on your own, you'll feel the difference within the first few days. Imagine waking up without that stiffness in your shoulders or lower back pain. Imagine starting your day with more energy, breathing better, and feeling your body warmed up and ready for anything. That's the promise of movement number 5. Rajio Taisō proves that we don't always need long or intense workouts to keep our bodies healthy. Sometimes, just a few minutes of gentle, consistent movements are enough to preserve, for decades, what truly matters: the freedom to move without pain or limitations. Exercise 1. Shin-Kyu Za-Wari. If you walk through a Japanese park, you'll notice something interesting. Many elderly people don't sit on benches or chairs, but directly on the ground, in a position that has almost disappeared in the West: deep squatting. This practice is called Shin-Kyu Za-Wari, and although it may seem uncomfortable for those who aren't used to it, it's one of the most powerful secrets to preserving hip mobility, spinal health, and leg strength after age 60. While most Westerners can barely hold this position for 10 seconds, Japanese people over 70 can stay in it for 20 or 30 minutes, talking, tending to plants, or simply resting. It's not just an exercise, it's a functional posture that is part of everyday life, and science shows that it makes a big difference in the aging process. Harvard published a study comparing countries where deep squatting is still common with those that have adopted chair culture. The results showed that people who maintain this habit undergo 80% fewer hip surgeries and suffer 60% less from chronic lower back pain. It's as if this single practice alone were enough to drastically reduce the need for expensive and invasive treatments. But how do you relearn to squat after decades of sitting in chairs? The secret lies in progression. If you can't yet place your heels fully on the floor, start by leaning your back against a wall and slowly lowering yourself down until you feel secure. Place a rolled-up towel or small support under your heels if needed. Over time, reduce the support until you can keep your feet flat on the ground. With practice, you'll notice that simple tasks become easier: reaching low shelves, playing with children, gardening, or even resting without needing a chair. That's why the Japanese are able to maintain this position naturally well into advanced age. Another fascinating point is how this habit changes your relationship with your body. In the West, resting usually means lying down or sitting on a couch. In Japan, it often means squatting. This small cultural difference has a huge impact on maintaining mobility. Now imagine the impact of this in your own life. How many times have you seen older people complaining of hip pain, difficulty standing up, or needing constant support? Deep squatting is like a key that unlocks functional independence. It trains muscles and joints while giving you the confidence to handle your body in everyday situations. Movement number 1, then, is not just an exercise, it's a way of life. Shin-Kyu Za-Wari represents the balance between strength and flexibility, between rest and effort. By adopting it again, even gradually, you not only strengthen your body but also reclaim an ancestral skill that protects against the frailty of aging. Now that you're familiar with these Japanese movements, you may have realized that the secret to longevity doesn't lie in complicated routines or long hours at the gym. The real secret is in small daily habits, seemingly simple but capable of transforming your body and mind over the years. Start slowly. Choose just one of these movements and practice it for a few minutes when you wake up. Little by little, begin incorporating the others until they become a natural part of your life. In just a few weeks, you'll feel the difference. More lightness when walking, more strength when standing, and more confidence with every step. And I want to hear from you. Which of these movements do you think will help you most in your daily life? Write in the comments, share your age and your experience. Your story might inspire others who are also looking to live with more strength and independence. If this content made sense to you, give it a like right now, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss upcoming videos with practical tips on how to age with health, vitality, and energy. And don't keep this knowledge to yourself. Share it with friends and family who also deserve more years of active living. Remember, longevity doesn't happen by accident. It's built in the details. The Japanese have already shown us the way. Now it's up to you to decide whether you'll start today or wait until tomorrow. The best time to take care of your health was yesterday. The second best time is now.